All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome to week 7 WPL Ref Review. I'm just going to share my screen and then we'll get started. Just a reminder, we are supposed to be working on using gender inclusive language or gender neutral terms when we can. So let's just try and help each other be better with that. Does anybody have any comments about that they want to share? Or are we pretty much all on the same page? Okay. Week 7. So we had all 4 games this week. This is the first week in a while where we've played out all 4. You can see the scores here. Beantown Life West was very close, 25-30. North Shore, All Blues, big score gap, 0-75. New York Zons, a little closer, 10-34. And then we had Orsu and the Surfers, 8-72. So if you haven't gone to the WPL website, checked out the standings, that's there and you can do that. I'm not going to take up the time tonight because we've got a lot of clips to go through. So this is just a reminder of what we want to go over when we look at our matches. Joey, I see you on the call. Can you remind me which team you work with and we can do that one first?
I'm with North Shore.
North Shore. Awesome. So that was Jenny's game. So Jenny, are you on and can you go first?
Yep, good to go.
Let's see. Here we are.
Okay, as we see here, it was a little bit unbalanced. I think that, North Shore had a lot of good periods of play. They just weren't able to finish out those periods of play. But it was actually a pretty clean game. A lot of exciting phases from both teams. For me, my work on was having that increased, I call it getting my cackles up. And that is a continued work on for me. I think I did allow Berkeley as a dominant side to get away with a little bit in more of the big picture sense. I think I got a lot of the stuff in the smaller pictures, but putting it all together is a continued work on.
Wendy, you were the coach on this. Did you have anything to add?
I'll just echo what Peter said last week. I think Jenny does a fantastic job in her playlist and she's very honest with herself and her report is clear and she doesn't pull any punches. And I think that's to be respected. And I also agree with her assessment.
Awesome. Thank you. So everybody take a look at that then and get an idea of what Jenny did there. That was so great. And are you ready to go to the playlist?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to foul play. And glad Joey's on here because Joey actually made a comment on this clip. So wanted to give Joey a chance to ask questions and also have that discussion with the group. So I'll read this. Coach comment, home, that's Joey. From my angle and film angle, I think I see picture of blue team from distance at pace, making direct shoulder contact to the head of green player on the ground. Did you see a different picture here? If not, might things be more than a PK only? Thoughts? For me, in the moment, I didn't see more than that and am curious about what the group thinks. Admittedly, I was also very far away and we did not have comms as a team of 3.
That's important information. Thanks for adding that about the comms. Who wants to take a stab at this? Well, let me just say this, watching it now, Jenny, are you still satisfied with penalty only or what are you thinking?
it's a little bit difficult to tell from here. I think I would have wanted to have more of a discussion with the AR if given the opportunity. They didn't seem to react, so that's why
Yeah, there's no AR reaction and no real player reaction, so that is something to note. This is not a great angle on this. Anybody?
This doesn't look like I mean, it's like you said, the camera angle is difficult, but typically a red card will kind of like punch you in the face. And this is, to me, is not a wow moment. It's a, oh, you shouldn't have dove on that player moment. I don't know. This looks like a penalty to me, but I don't feel like if the words direct and shoulder to the head were being used, somebody was feeling red card here. I don't know if it gives that scent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't see the first contact being shoulder. I see that being more center of the chest of the blue player. Coming into contact with it, and you can't tell from this angle if the contact is head or the green player's shoulder. So I'm okay with penalty only. Don't dive on people.
Okay. Joey?
Yeah, no, happy with that. Kind of the pictures that everyone is seeing. And just a note, I thought Jenny did a fantastic game on the weekend. Saying earlier, loved her breakdowns. Just in general, this is just a concerning picture that for me, I think could elevate if it's maybe not sanctioned more harshly, and maybe that's pictures I've seen in the past. But also, I think one of the issues, and I'm also the VP of the Ref Society out here, is there anything that we should be doing to prepare people for AR situations as well, where they can be more effective? If Jenny's looking for that picture, would be the other question I have. Ed, is there anything that you go as a refereeing pool, you want those people to be prepared to do, prepared to see, prepared to act, or anything like that?
Well, for me, if that AR saw any head contact, I would want them to hang their flag out, and then we would just stop, and obviously we don't have comms, so we would stop and talk about what pictures they were seeing. So just a quick flag for purposes of training.
Cool, yeah, and happy with that assessment too. Like I was on the far side of the field, but I was curious to see what the picture others were saying there.
Yeah, it's difficult. There could be head contact here, and this could be yellow cardable, but I think from the picture we have, everybody's mostly happy with the penalty. So if we had that reverse angle or the straight on side shot, we may all come to a different conclusion on this. So
Did the player have anything to say after the game?
Not to me. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually wondering if she's told the coach anything about how she got hit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is she had gone stepped on in the game, and she mentioned a point where she felt like she got a shoulder to the chin. So I went through, and that's what flagged that one for me. But it might have been a different point as well, and I was just looking. That was the most clear picture that I saw. That looked like it might have been that one.
Got it.
yeah, that's fair. Awesome. Thank you for that contribution. Okay, I can't get my screen to go back. There we go. What's next?
And then the next two are probably pretty quick, not much discussion.
Okay.
Would it be need higher standard? A common theme for me is that just a little too chill, and this was an opportunity to make more of a statement. Berkeley is dominate here and they kill the North Shore attack, I penalize this immediately, but I wish that I would have escalated because it's very, they're off feet, basically just killing the momentum. And that's something for me to see that picture more clearly and quicker.
Also the fourth, not like right in a row, but it's a grouping of penalties for Berkeley, so they could have been under warning.
Okay, yeah, that's important context. Thank you. Anything else we need to say about this one?
Not really for me.
What minute was that, Jenny? Do you know?
It was this,
Hang on, we're
probably
paused.
nearing nearing halftime. Yeah, so it's
28-33.
27-0, pretty close to halftime.
Okay.
And then this just for folks to be aware, Berkeley's latcher was losing their feet a little bit. I think it was just a little bit of tripping. I'm not sure they intended to go to ground. It happened a couple times here, and I should have maybe what I could do is verbally tell them, like, you know, stay up, latcher, stay up, and just manage that situation a little bit more. Yeah, it's hard from that angle, but they,
Oh, yeah, no, she definitely pancaked.
Yeah, you can see it.
Why wouldn't you penalize that?
it feels harsh going against momentum and North Shore not really contesting that particular moment. What are the thoughts of the group?
Yeah, there's no green player on her feet at that moment, anywhere near that picture. I think penalizing would go against the grain of like what's understandable for stakeholders. I think if any green player is on her feet in the vicinity, a penalty would make sense. But yeah, that's a weird picture, to be fair.
Yeah, so for me going forward, it's just more of a management thing, and if there's anyone in that vicinity, penalty that's trying to compete, penalty.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Cool. Well, thanks everybody.
Is that all of yours?
I think we have that fun foul play one.
Oh, that was the first.
Yeah, that's
That
all.
was-
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Awesome. Good to go. Cool. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Wendy. Shanda?
I'm up at that. All right.
Finally, 7 weeks into
Yeah.
it. You get
Yeah.
to go.
So it was so nice to get a run around. It was a beautiful day. I'd never been to Oregon before, so I got to meet the pig. That was pretty cool. The game itself was one team did all my work for me. There wasn't much for me to do. 20 penalties. Could have probably been 18 in my review, but that's okay. I'll survive. Yeah, it was pretty. It was a pretty nice day at the park because I didn't really have to do too much. Yeah, I don't know if Olivia, if you had wanted to comment or we want to just jump into clips or happy days.
Clips, go clips.
Clips. Okay. So I put a few because I wasn't sure how many we should add to it, but we don't have to go through them all. I think the cool one, sorry, I'm gonna just try to read the screen. The cool one I think would be quicker whistle, please.
Am I not seeing that?
I could be blind.
That's okay. It also might be outside of the folder. Let me see.
I thought I.
There she is.
Oh, yeah. So I just think here, before we watch it, I just think a quicker whistle by me here cleans all of this up. And also just watching the quick taps through the mark, I couldn't think of a good reason to bring her back. So I obviously let her play and she scored a try, but we'll see your thoughts. Yeah, I even think honestly that the quicker whistle, we don't even have that quick tap talking point either. I just think it cleans up everything.
Does the player, so the San Diego player does tap it. When I watched this, I did not think that the
Yeah,
San
she
Diego
just-
player kicked that.
She just
Ah,
kicked it right where the ball was.
sure enough.
Which was where the offense was, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't think of a good reason
How
to
about
bring her
that?
back, so I don't know. It looked weird though.
Yep. I thought the Orsu player had somehow tapped that backwards and that, but I do see now that it is San Diego 8 who.
That is, I honestly thought it was the Orsu player that moved it
Me
when
too.
I watched this.
I was like, oh no, they kicked the ball away.
Yeah, it's a pretty
Yeah.
weird one.
Everybody happy with playing on there? Yeah.
Okay, happy days. And then there's the other one that me and Olivia spoke about was intentional salesperson. Oh, I think the salesperson one. So this clip, I just felt dirty giving this penalty. It felt wrong. The losing team probably could have deserved more empathy, and I think I could have sold a scrum here.
Okay, so for clarity,
The Orsu player kicks the ball and her friend in front catches it to play. But I think if I just blow my whistle really quick, I can spell like the accidental in front of kicker scrum for blue.
Where's the kick?
which player kicks? Yeah, this one?
That player, yeah.
Yep.
It's just a dirty one because it's technically accurate, but gross. Like, I don't
Yeah,
think it
and
needs to
she's
happen.
barely in front of kicker. It's almost like lateral, but yeah, it's probably there.
Yeah, it just felt gross. I think I could have just sold an accidental scrum and nobody asks questions.
An accidental offside.
Accidental in front of kicker,
Ox-
something.
I don't know. That's a bit.
Yeah, yeah. I don't disagree, Jamie. I don't think a whistle needs to happen here. It feels dirty.
Just say she's not offside and play on.
Yeah, yeah, I'm in.
Thoughts? Someone smarter than me?
Hey Amanda, it's Andrew. Hey Shanda also. Yeah, I honestly kind of am a little bit with Jamie here of great skills play on. If it's not like 100% obvious that she's offside, especially with Orsu down so much, like I might be inclined to just say like see where it goes, and if the coach is really heated about it afterwards, just say you'll eat it in review. Like we thought that the player was onside. it's kind of where I stand. I agree with you. I don't really think this needs to be a penalty here. That does feel kind of slimy.
Slimy, I like it. I definitely agree. Yeah, on review, I was like, ugh. Even after the game, I was like, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's very gotcha, but probably technically correct.
But you're right, like technically correct. I think a scrum out of all the options is probably both the best worlds, I guess. Because she is in front. I mean, you have to hold that. She is in front.
Yeah, I think either way, if you say, oh, yeah, I saw nothing and play on, or you sell the scrum, I think either way, you're better than what I did. Okay, and then a last one. I feel like there was a better one. I just don't see it.
Knock on versus, what is HT?
Oh, yes, this is the one. Thank you. This is the one me and Olivia spoke about. It's another one where just a clicker whistle. If I blow the knock on, I save somebody from getting decapitated. So
Yeah, it's always a good day at the park.
yeah, so it would have been a better than playing a hopeful advantage and letting someone get high tackled.
Yep. Okay. Do we need to see that one again, or pretty clear? Okay. I'm not trying to rush, but we do have a lot to get through tonight. So
No, that's all for me. You're good.
Is that it?
Thanks.
Intentional or attack under pressure? Did we do this one? Or do you not remember?
I mean, we can if you want. I more put it as a conversation starter. I don't think it's an intentional knock on. I agree with the on-field decision. It was just more to talk about. So it's up to you.
Okay. Yeah. No, I did look at this one and I agree with it not being intentional, but let's see what everybody thinks. So that one's backwards and that one's forward.
Yeah, I
Anybody-
just thought the attack was in shambles, so I figured a scrum was probably the best option for everybody.
Anybody disagree? Have other thoughts?
Oh, this is Jenny. I don't know. There's a player. If you remove that player who bumps it forward, that Orsu player might have regathered and walked in.
Oh, absolutely. There's two of them there.
Yeah.
Could have potentially scored and a third coming on. I think for me, it was just
I'm considering a card here for me on my work on getting my cackles up.
Would you consider a card even given, I don't disagree with you, there's definitely two people there, but would you consider a card even with her first attempt going backwards, like she's the last person to play the ball, not the attack?
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? Because it's not interfering necessarily with a pass. It's trying to regather that ball after fair play, right?
Yeah, but it's
That's
also preventing.
Yeah,
the
but it's
attacking
just
team
sitting. It's sorry, Peter.
They're absolutely preventing Orsu from gathering what it should be an easily grabbed ball.
Yeah, I was gonna say see where that pass is going. It looks like it would have been an easy pickup. They had the numbers, they had a tactical.
100%. I don't disagree with that. I think my thought was, I'm not sure she knew she was hitting the ball forward because everybody's in such disarray. So whether it then, to me, I questioned intent of the intentional part of the intentional knock on.
Yeah, that's fair too. Just kind of spinning around and not disoriented.
Yeah. I don't know what the right decision is. Jamie, do you want to weigh in?
Not really, thanks.
Yeah. Any decision's a
This-
good enough decision.
Is the first one? Are we all agreed the first one is knocked back? Is that
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So we're really only dealing with the second one, which I agree with everyone is an instinctive reaction to grab at the ball, and probably that hasn't stopped a try at that particular point because everyone's in chaos. So I think that would be, to go back to the point that was made in the previous example, if you're trying to make decisions that are easily understood and sellable to everyone, I don't think that's a decision that stands out as an obvious yellow. Whereas I think if the first one had actually gone forward rather than backwards, that would have been one that you could have solved. That would be my summary.
Right. Okay. Is that it for you, Shanda?
That's good for me. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Glad to hear from you. Glad you got on the pitch. Wendy, you good? Okay. Oh, it was Olivia who was the PR on that. I'm sorry.
That's
Coach.
okay. When Wendy said Peter earlier and it was me last week. So
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with my name.
We're all just
One of those
interchangeable
days.
anyway. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for doing that coaching. Marty, up next.
Yeah, hey everyone, Marty here. Super fun one last weekend up in Boston. Life West came out and it was supposed to be incredibly hot, so there was a bunch of travel issues on both sides pushing back the kickoff time. So Life West had a long day of travel ahead, and everyone was just excited to finally be playing rugby, not in the 95-degree heat, which was great. It was still definitely a little warm, but nothing we couldn't handle. This was the first time I refereed with the 20-minute water breaks. That's just another piece that I thought would be privy to share. Season long goals are definitely set piece comfortability. Definitely regarding scrum focused. I feel like that went pretty well this week. And also confidence around the pitch. So definitely still working on that. I think that's good for the moment. If we want to hop into clips, Peter, do you want to add?
No, I think we'll go to the clips. No.
Okay. What do we want to start with?
We could scroll up a bit. Yeah. So any of them. The offsides versus quick tap. This one was an offsides that Beantown was then going to try to play quick, just at the fringes, and you could see sort of this question mark shooter right in this freeze frame right now is already offsides. Yeah, and we could just let the clip run. So took away that passing lane if wanted to be. You can see Beantown 10 takes it quick, and since the ball carrier was in front of me, I just instinctively said it was in front of the mark, but the mark is the offsides line, so I did a poor job of allowing Beantown to attack as the way that they wished. Just being mindful of where the mark is, not just where I am. I feel like that's a nice work on moving forward.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I just think I'll add, and it's something that it's not unique to Marty. I see a lot of people, they blow the whistle and then their first actions is to start explaining in secondary signals. And really that can wait until after you've seen whether or not there's going to be a quick tap, and facilitate that and make sure that goes off correctly.
Yep. Awareness to where we are on the field for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if they take the quick tap, nobody cares if you don't get secondaries. And if they don't take the quick tap, you got all the time in the world to get secondaries. So, I mean, that's the real lesson, is to be thinking about the quick tap anytime it's a possibility.
Yep. Thank you. Marty, next.
Yeah, we could do the line out landing / where's the mark, another piece. So this one, there's been a couple of times where both sides this went, where the defenders were not letting the jumper land before they started making contact with the receiver. That affected Beantown, especially in the second half where they had a strong maul. I ended up yellow carding Life West up for this as well. And this one also, if the penalty is in the line out, it should go back to the 15, not at the 5. So we could just see where this happens.
Yeah, somehow that clip got cut a little bit
Yeah, it is cut short.
shorter. Oh.
Yeah, I apologize for that.
That's okay.
Just Life West definitely just takes this ball quick, right behind where that penalty is, not at the 15.
Okay.
Yeah, and made a good 15 or 20 meters of, quick running, because, she didn't have to go out to the 15 before she took it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Let's get the marks right for sure.
Absolutely. And definitely moving. And then this could be my last clip, is this knock on versus knock on offsides. The first player to touch the ball is definitely coming from an offside position. I played scrum there just because of, I felt like that was just right in the moment. I don't know. But I would like to hear everybody's thoughts. So I saw where the ball was going, and I tried to get I did my best to blow the whistle up as soon as I see this happening, and then boom. And Life West was putting pressure on that player. They could have played a ball. I would just like to open this up for discussion now.
So did you give the penalty?
I just gave it a scrum.
Okay. So we're concerned about the Beantown player playing the ball offside?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, just
yeah.
making sure it wasn't, because it says
Yeah.
there's something Life West could do. So I was a little confused.
No, just the question there is, was Life West deprived of an opportunity, to take advantage of the knock on?
So we're
And-
saying, should it be a penalty?
Yeah, and I'm not,
Yes.
and I don't think Marty's super concerned about this particular one. It's just a matter of making sure that the referees are asking themselves the right question.
Okay, I'm on your page now. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Peter. And thank you, Wendy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a problem with that decision.
You don't mind this one being a scrum?
No, I mean, it's close,
Okay.
but
Thank you. You and I are at odds. What,
that's all right.
that's
Not
fine,
the first time, won't be the last.
for sure.
I think that's a pretty, hi, this is Brian. I think that's a pretty easy penalty. That if we're arguing that there's intentionality, I mean, I guess there was disagreement over the yellow card and Jenny's game. I think that's clearly a wing coming to get the ball. That player's not there. They're picking up that ball and they're going 5 meters.
Yeah, I think the origin of the law is so that people aren't playing the ball outside, not just like a reflex catch. And I think I agree with, it appears as though, I'm watching on my phone, I'm sorry, but it does appear as though they're playing it. Question mark.
That's
I
right.
agree with those comments. Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Any other discussion around this one?
Yeah, I'll just add one more thing as well. If we think about like, I guess, pressure there, the ball's kicked inside of Beantown's 22 roughly, and then the knock on happens under pressure for sure, especially with at least 2 Life West players in the vicinity to make a play on that ball. The Beantown player who reacts and picks it up is killing either of their opportunities to do anything creative with it there, when that really should be kind of a free one for them. So I agree with Brian. I agree with you, Amanda, and I agree with Shanda. This definitely has to be a penalty in my book.
Awesome. Good discussion. We are zooming through these clips. I was worried today would be a long day, and we're just... Marty, is that it, or is there one more from you?
Yeah, Peter also made a good point that not all of the clips have to be work-ons.
Correct.
Just some good moving around the pitch early on, from a scrum through a couple phases, even with a transition, a turnover. So, yeah.
Awesome. Oh, and then we did have one clip from the
coach.
Yep.
Yep. And change possession and good reaction by Marty there to get to the other side.
Good.
Yeah, if you look through that, he's working hard to give himself the same picture at every tackle, which is, important.
For sure. Thanks for that. Okay, and then Chris, are you on the call? Sounds like no.
He's probably at practice.
Yeah, he had, when I talked to him earlier, said practice was canceled, so he's going to try to make the call, but that could have changed. So this was a coach clip, and just so everybody knows, because there was some confusion about this, let me just show you
what it looks like on the playlist.
What it looks like on the playlist. If you go to your playlist and you see in red
70 minutes, that's where you're looking.
you can actually sort by home team coach.
Oh, look at that.
And then you'll see just what the coach put in. So if you see home in red, that means that's a comment that the coach put in there. Anything that you respond on this clip, the coach can read. So for the most part, when we're looking at our playlist, the coaches cannot see any of our comments. Only we see those. They just see what was tagged. But when they make a comment and then you comment back, they can see that. Does that make sense? Cool.
Yep. Thank you.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was a clip that was put in by the Beantown coach. And his thought here was that the release by the tackler was not good enough. So there's the tackle and there's the poach. I'll try and slow it down for you. Looking at 11.
Yeah, I clipped that same tackle.
Yep. So Marty rewards
actually, that was a penalty, so Marty clipped it, but I agreed with what the coach had to say.
And if we watch what happens, Marty's blocked by like 2 arriving players. So I think he probably doesn't have a good sight on that release. So just something to think about, that angle.
Yeah, and just my comment on it, going through review, I don't agree with the penalty here as well, but just in the moment, I was just thinking expected outcome. Down is returning, but I still need the clear release to reward it. So yeah,
yep, 100%.
That was my thought process. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody got that one. So good job, team. Just wanted to address that for the coach. So thanks, Marty. Anything else on this one?
The one thing I'd add, that the big learning point, I think, for Marty was more recognition of patterns of offenses, which, it's hard to put into a clip. But that was, if you take a look at just the penalty line, go through all the penalties, you'll see, big chunks of one team or the other. And play, especially play getting close to goal line.
Yeah, I would say if we get enough time on this call, remind me, and let's go back as a group and take a look at some of the Beantown mauling, because we may have had a chance to, their goal definitely is to maul. And so we need to be aware when they are playing of what the defense does and if they illegally bring down that maul. So last ref, Haley.
Hello.
Welcome.
I was able to actually, Bob and I were able to actually tag majority of everything, shockingly. The film we realized that it's actually really good quality. It just, they never zoomed. So it's really hard to see anything on my small laptop, but it's really nice when the players are right in front of the camera. So, I don't have a ton in terms of a clip wise. It was like a really great day back in my home state, Minnesota. Both teams had mentioned that they wanted to play a quick game of rugby, and which, coming from a sevens weekend, I was very happy to hear that. And they did mention they both had like shooter defense, so which just like triggered for me to want to scan more. And then the teams did like to kick too, so I worked with my ARs to make sure that we used the opposition wing if they were putting everyone on sides, just kind of working together on that. I did have my first goal line drop go straight into touch, and I had to like stare at the sideline for like 5 extra seconds that I wanted to think, is this a 22 or is this a 5 meter, and got the right outcome. I didn't, however, put the scrum in the middle. I put it where the kick was, so that was just something I need to think about for the next goal line drop out straight to touch. And then so this is coming from a sevens weekend. I was very conscious of wanting to make sure that I wasn't just blowing penalties for tackler not rolling right away every single time, or being really over happy with ball carrier not releasing. And so I try to let things breathe. And in that, I let I think a lot of things breathe, and bringing up Shanda's in front of the kicker. Shanda, I would have played on from your situation as well. But after watching my game, Bob and I talked about like, if a forward pass is forward, is that fair? And should you blow it? And I'm like, well, probably yes. So there were a lot of very, very, very flat passes that I let probably be too flat rather than actually forward. And so I was just like kind of going for everyone that has these teams, they like to pass very flat. And two for sure, if not 3 of the tries from New York were interceptions from flat passes within the 5 meter tracking of the Amazons. So it didn't feel like a 10-34 match. They're both very dynamic teams. It's just they had a lot of unfortunate interceptions, but they're very flat passes. So my clips that I have, literally there are only 2 clips. You can maybe see anything because it's right in front of the camera. I think the dangerous tackle. So I call the dangerous, it was over the shoulder, high tackle. I thought it was low force, so I just been PK only. Just a conversation if anyone thinks it should be a yellow card. And then the second caveat to that was, what are people's opinions on where I I took the mark essentially. I didn't come right up to the mark because I have a tendency of like needing to be right in the middle for the kick or like right over the penalty when I make a mark. And so I've been trying to like be less controlling over that. And I'm just curious if it looks like I'm not getting to the place that I need to be when they do take a quick tap. So that was the high.
Oh, it's kind of short. The clip is short.
Oh, great. Because that's what you need.
Does that show as much as we need to see?
Nope.
Yeah, because we don't see where you make the mark. Let's go to the game. 13:59.
Yeah, I probably didn't include that because I just pinged the PK and I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should be able to play it from here. Let's see more.
And it's mostly this conversation of are there people for sevens, I am almost never right over the mark and I'm just pointing to where it is. I don't know if that's a 7 style and it can be transferred into 15s or if we should be trying to get closer to that making a mark, I guess. That's literally, I mean, it's like 10 seconds.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Who has thoughts?
First is, would anyone card this, I guess, for the.
Question 1. We happy with penalty only? Anybody want a card here?
Great, cool.
Yeah. It looks like most of the pressure is downward to the shoulder to me.
Yeah, and she goes down together. It's, yeah.
No heads taken off. Okay, anybody have a problem with where Haley is when she awards the mark? Okay.
Haley, I'll just give some 2 cents thoughts. Number one, yeah, definitely not. I wouldn't say a yellow card, especially given the reactions of the players. They're pretty much happy to just play on them almost immediately. Second, as far as where you give the mark, they want to play quick, so let them. I personally think that if you want to be right on top of the mark, that's kind of a time when you want to like slow the game down, whether that's like, oh, you know, they're trying to take a quick tap within 5 for whatever reason. And you're like, no, we're going to slow it down. I want you to bring it back over here onto me. That to me is kind of when you want to crowd it. Otherwise, I think give the players space to do what they want. And if they do it from the mark and legally, then happy days, play on. So yeah, find where you are. Keep running.
I think more of the conversation too, does it appear wrong for me not to be as close as where the mark should be? Like, should I get there faster to be when I give the mark, or does this like look fluid, I guess?
In this situation, it works really well because she's standing dead on the mark. So it's almost like any extra effort by you is just
gonna confuse her.
Work on your part. Yeah, little
and it will impede. It'll also impede her taking the quick.
And gain the way of the people trailing. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So I think maybe in some instances your concern would be warranted, and in this instance, good work.
And then just the last one I had, and this happened 3 times, and it's like my biggest fear with scrums. Now that I have like worked with Lee on how to like set up the scrum and feel comfortable managing the scrum. I mean, knock on wood for the most part. I'm so bad at moving with the scrum if I'm not on the side of the scrum halves. And I think, yeah. Yeah, so I'm on, again, this is like all of the film is this far away, but so I'm on the opposite side of the scrum halves because there was like a new loose tight head for the Zons. And so I was on that side, and the 8-man, anytime I was on the side opposite from the scrum halves, I feel like the 8-man always picked. And you'll see I get in the way of the flanker to be able to make, and of course I clipped it really short. But just like any advice from people on how to move on the weak side like that and to not get in the way, because it happened like 3 times.
Hey, this is Jenny. Did you consider not moving and just standing?
That's what I do.
closer?
I do. I just stop, and then I always get hit every time.
Or just
And
yeah,
it's
just
not
standing
terrible when
almost-
it's not terrible when it's like the ladies, but then when I have like a men's match, I just get creamed every time.
Haley, what if you took 3 steps away from the scrum every time after the feed?
Like laterally or back.
Yeah, a 45. So back on a 45. Doesn't matter which side you're on. You can see the whole scrum. You can see the defensive back line. And you've got space if the 8-man pick happens and you're on that side.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best option, probably, than what I'm doing. Cool. That's all that I had for my game.
Awesome.
Oh, it's the
Bob?
red card.
Oh,
Oh.
yes, I had a red card. You can't see it. I don't even know. It's in I think it's in the folder if you wanted to watch it, but
Yeah, there's no point in even looking at that, but the pictures were pretty fun.
I mean, they were pretty accurate to what happened, as they were pictures of what happened. But yeah, the red card was their captain had just gone back on from a yellow card. I think she was back in the game for like 6 minutes, and so it was like her first tackle. And I think she just had, was really excited to make that tackle, and it was a scrum half, and she just picked her up and brought her very much past parallel, where her feet were above everyone's head. And then I was blinded by a player, and so I brought in my AR just to confirm where the contact was to the ground, and the AR was very descriptive, and it being her neck and head, and I was like, so upper back shoulder? She's like, no, neck and head. I was like, okay, great, so red card, and so that's on.
And that is that. Awesome. Anything else from that game, Bob?
I'm just going to say that Haley did an excellent job. And one of the things that made it an excellent job is that she set her standards early and she really worked hard to maintain those. And it just makes for the game to flow so much easier. So kudos to Haley, and that was really nice. And whoever can let this team know that camera is good, because when they did zoom in those 3-4 times, the picture was phenomenal. So they need to learn how to zoom in, and it make all the difference in the world with the video.
Awesome. I will certainly give them that feedback.
Haley, did you want to bring up the question that the coach had about the yellows, or did you already get that addressed?
Yeah, I don't think yes. So the conversation after the match was about so the yellow card that was given to the captain was she's trying to stop play on a quick tap 5 meters out and preventing a possible try, and so I carded her, and so that was like a technical, not a foul play call, and then she gets this situation, she gets carded again. I went straight red, but if I had even done a yellow, which I was talking to the coach after, had I given her a yellow, it would have been 2 yellows as a red, and there's just a conversation about, is there a difference between two technical calls, so 2 yellows that are technical versus like dangerous foul play being a red, or if 2 yellows is automatically a red, because this isn't soccer and we're playing rugby, and from my understanding that 2 yellows is a red, no matter what kind of yellows they are. So that was made clear, hopefully.
Yep, you're correct.
Great.
I mean, whether or not it's technical or dangerous play yellows matters when it goes to the disciplinary committee, but it doesn't matter on the field.
On the pitch, yeah, and that's kind of I talked to him about. He can look at the film, which it was awful, but the disciplinary will decide what the sanctions are after this match. But like on the field of the day, it's a red card for me. Had it been 2 yellows, either way. So
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, and disciplinary did come back and agreed it was a red card and the player was sanctioned, just so everybody knows. Let's just wrap it up then. Thank you, Haley.
What's the sanction?
They went with 2 weeks. So
Where can we see the said photos?
they are confidential.
Oh, they're not on social?
No, they will never go to social.
You're on Twitter.
Perhaps if you would like to stay on the call after I stop recording, we can have another discussion. So week 7, these games, watching all of them, they were very different. I do think that being that we're heading into week 8 and we're heading towards finals, we all really need to start thinking what the strengths of the teams are and what they are trying to achieve. I know I mentioned Beantown's Malls. That's one thing. We know Orsu has got a strong driving scrum, and we know in order for them to be successful, sometimes we are going to need to remind them not to bore or whatever it is. But we need to think about how we can set things up for success. We need to keep hounding the tacklers and making sure that they're squeaky clean before we reward poachers. And if we can get those quick taps right, that would be great. So those are my asks. And we're doing a great job as a group. Overall, the feedback has been very positive about our refereeing. And I'm very happy with the group dynamic. I hope everybody else is too. Any other comments coming out of week 7? Cool. Week 8, unfortunately, if you haven't heard, there's massive COVID outbreaks everywhere. 2 of the teams are out of commission, so we will only have 2 games this weekend. Andrew Stockton has got Life West All Blues, which is shaping up to be one of the most exciting games of the year. So can't wait to see that one. And then Marty's going to do New York and Orsu. So I'm sure that will also be a fun game. Remains to be seen. All right. Does anybody have anything else? Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. Maybe.